Hey y'all, today we are going to be talking about successes and failures in my raised bed gardens. I'm going to just be taking you through some different things, some things that I'm happy with, some things I'm not happy with, and then I'm also going to be sowing some new seeds in the raised bed gardens today. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when my latest videos are up, and make sure you drop me a comment below. Do you have successes or failures in your raised bed garden? Okay, I just wanted to stand back here and give you a little bit of perspective regarding the raised beds. I installed 6 new raised beds. This one right here is an old one that's eventually getting moved over here to a potential shade garden for the future. But basically I call them Tetris pieces. There's 3 on each side and you can see it over there as well. And I purchased all these beds from Amazon and then purchased soil from a local company. Probably one of the biggest successes about these raised beds is actually getting it done, because it took a lot of time, took a lot of effort, and I had to save money for a lot of months to make this happen. I do have a video, and I'll try to drop a link below in this video description if you're interested in watching about the raised bed process, seeing where I get everything, and seeing the total cost across everything. Okay, so successes and failures. Successes definitely being able to get all this started, and then most everything in these beds are started from seed or tubers. So very proud of myself for that, because yes, I could have gone and bought all the plants at a local nursery, something along those lines, but that's not really a cost-effective solution for someone like myself. I'm not at a place in my life where I can just go buy all the plants that I want fully grown and put them into my yard. I do that with some, but I do grow a lot from seed so that I can save on cost. Now, in all fairness, growing seeds can be expensive as well, because you do have a lot of failures on seeds. I've definitely had complete failures where I've had 0 germination. I've definitely had failures where half the seedlings have died. I've had failures where transplanting them from one place to the other did not work out, but I've also had lots of successes with those. So let's look at some of the seed successes I've had in the raised bed gardens. Okay, over here I've had some really good success so far with my carnations that are all coming up. I had pretty good germination for them. I do need to come in here and cut back the blooms, because these are cut and come again. So the more you cut on them, the more blooms you're gonna get. But you can see the height. Like this one right here is about 18 inches tall, and this carnation is about to bloom. This particular one is called Shabbat Aurora. And I've been really happy with the success of those so far. You can see several that are getting ready to bloom over here. And I am growing 3 varieties: Shabbat La France, Shabbat Orange Sherbet, and Shabbat Aurora. Very happy with how those are doing, and they're really coming along. I've also been really happy with my Chinese forget-me-nots. They really love the heat, so they are just now starting to take off on bloom. Absolutely beautiful. Nice long stems. This one's probably about 14 inches tall. Really happy with the direction these are going. These Chinese forget-me-nots are bloomed the first year. Okay, I've also been very happy with the new straw flowers. These are all grown from seed. You can see I've got one right here. I believe this is the silvery rose. Yes, I'm growing several varieties. So I'm growing purple red, silvery rose, apricot peach, and vintage white. Vintage white are not doing as great. I think they have a little too much shade because of the willow tree, so they're a little bit behind. But these, now that we've got the heat, are really starting to take off. And I should be able to cover these, and these might be able to make it through the winter. If not, I will go ahead and start a bunch of straw flower seeds in the fall and overwinter them. So I'm very happy with the direction that the straw flower right here is going. Okay, this area was a failure of ranunculus corms that have now been pulled, and I'll be storing them. And I went ahead and pulled them, and then went ahead and started pro-cut sunflowers right away, and very happy with how quickly these have come up. And I think this is gonna really end up being a success story over here. As these come up, I will harvest them and start a new round, and I'll do that until about 8 weeks before our first freeze. I will say growing Lysianthus from seed is not for the faint of heart. I started these last summer, or actually I take it back. I started these last August and overwintered them outside. Had some success, some not success. They are the slowest growers that ever existed, y'all. So taking forever, but they are growing. I don't know if I'm going to be a Lysianthus from seed kind of gal. I might just go ahead and pay for the plugs just because it's just taken so long. You can also see my snapdragons here. Had some really good success with snapdragons. We're putting on a little bit more heat, and so I'm really starting to get a lot coming up now, which is really fun. Check out these Madam Butterfly. Aren't those just stunning? Absolutely beautiful. I'm really excited about those. These are Costa Silver. These are Yellow Potomac. So pretty. Really happy with how they're going. This particular variety in here, which is called Night and Day. Yeah, Night and Day snaps. I'm going to pull them out. I don't love them. They definitely got a few spider mites right now. They just don't put off very long stalks. So I'm going to pull them out and replace it with another variety of snapdragons. And then these guys have been having a little bit of trouble since they were transplanted. They did really good in their original bed, which was over there. I transplanted them over here, and I feel like they're suffering a little bit for that. But we'll limp them through the heat, and then they should give me some more flushes as we get closer into the cooler weather. Another big success I've got over here are basil. I'm growing two types of basil, purple ruffles basil, which is this one right here, and then cardinal basil, which is this one right here, and it gives you large plumy red purple flowers at the top. Those are all doing really well. And then I also have all of my corn that I sowed. I did glass gems and japonica, I believe. Yes. And you can tell the japonica by the color of the leaves. And then these over here are the glass stems. These I planted all by seed. They're doing great. I tossed some orange peels into here just to ward off some pests. But a viewer has been keeping me updated on how he cares for his corn. And so he's having me keep track of my corn to make sure it's not getting eaten on. And I will be treating it periodically to make sure that it doesn't get eaten to the ground. I'm also actually really happy with my Sweet Rocket Pale Lavender. Now this is a biennial, so just gonna grow green leaves for me this year. It is getting eaten up a little bit, but it's still doing really great. Several of the plants are doing well. The one at the end, not as great, but I think it'll catch up. I'm really happy with the direction this is going, and I look forward to seeing what these blooms look like next year. Okay, let's talk failures. It can be a real beatdown in your garden when you have failures with such. The biggest failure I think I'm having right now with my raised beds is I'm not sure about the soil that I have in the beds. I had my friend Kristen here over the other day, and I can't tell if my plants are suffering from malnutrition, meaning that there's not enough nutrients in the soil. And in all fairness, this is a mix of a raised bed soil with compost mixed in it. And then of course, you guys see me, I always plant with plant tone as well. So there are a lot of nutrients that I add into it, but perhaps it's not enough. I also have some that look like they're struggling with some iron issues. So I'll be treating those with some bone meal probably this week as well. But a lot of my plants have just sat. I mean, they're not that much bigger from when I planted them 2 months ago. Now, that could have to do with the weather because we went to hot very quickly in this area. So our spring was very limited. We hit 90-degree digits a long time ago. And so that could be part of it. And it might just be me having to, limp them along throughout the summer until we have cooler temps, and then I might get some blooms out of there. But let me show you what's going on with the failures in the raised gardens. All right, white mignonette. Anybody grow white mignonette? It is super tiny. I've had some very tiny little blooms coming up. They're not much of anything. A lot of these other guys are just sitting. Not really much going on with it. When I first planted them, I had they all turned like this color. But since they put on some new growth, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. I recently saw, I think it was an old video from Laura with Garden Answer where she had white mignonette, and she expressed the same concern that they were just short and weren't really doing much of anything. So maybe it's just this seed. I'm not sure. I'm going to give it maybe another 4 to 6 weeks. If we still don't have much growth, I might pull these up and replace them with something fun like zinnias, because You know, when you have a failure in your garden, one of the best things you can do is go in and do something that makes you happy. And zinnias, I always have good luck with. So we'll look at that. But let's walk over to this side of the garden and talk about some more failures that I've had. This is my dahlia area. And you can definitely see lots of dahlias coming up, looking really good. These are all first year dahlias for me. I actually have dahlias at the back of here as well, in the container back there, in the silver container. And those they were in the ground over, over the winter and everything, did great. And they're coming back just awesome, amazing. But you can definitely tell the difference between the second year ones and then all these first year ones. I lost about 8 tubers to rot, and so I've since dug some of them up. They were hollow, nothing going on in them. This one doesn't seem as bad, but then just nothing going on. So 7, 8 of them is what I lost. Several of them were from Swan Island. I've decided not to contact Swan Island because I can't remember what type of soil I put these in to pre-sprout them. And they do highly suggest you not put it in any type of soil that has any type of fertilizer in it. So this could absolutely be user error. I'm not sure. It's my first time ordering from Swan Island. So I do feel like, you know, even though I'm an experienced gardener and I'm experienced growing dahlias, I'm not perfect in any way. And so I do feel like it's more, especially because there's so many, that it's more likely that it's user error. And that would be my error. And so if it was just 1 or 2, I would be like, yeah, it might be the tuber. I lost Fluffles. I lost Bluetiful, which I'm really sad about. I lost Spoiled Rotten. I also lost Diva, Gabby's Wish, and Hula. So I did buy some of their 50% off tubers just for the heck of it. And I know I'm really late in the season, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to get them started. And maybe I bought 50% off tubers from Swan Island, and I bought them all in fall colors, like reds and oranges. And so I have those coming. I'm gonna go ahead and get those in. And even though I won't get blooms until the fall, I'll still be able to get fall blooms that'll be usable for arrangements. These other 2 right here were part of a mix from Brex. And I had good luck with the rest of the mix. I just didn't have it with those 2 particular bulbs. Okay, let's talk about some more failures over in this bed. Clary Sage, super struggling, y'all. The plants look weak. Some of these are the exact same size of when I planted them months ago. They just haven't done anything. Maybe it's a heat thing. Maybe they need more heat. Maybe they've had too much heat. I'm not sure. But I'm over it, so I'm going to rip all these Clary Sage up, and I'm going to replant it with something else. Winged Everlasting is starting to actually take off. It was a dud at the beginning, so I thought, but literally in the last 2 weeks, it's really started taking off. So that's kind of exciting right there. This Chrysanthemum Golden Ball, it's about, a lot of them are the same size they were when I first planted them. However, I am starting to get some new growth on these. So these are going to hang out for a little bit, see if I can get a little bit more out of them. Clarkia Coral, Tower Coral is over here. This one right here has aphids right here. I just don't love the look of the plant. It hasn't gone all that well. I'm going to go ahead and rip them up. They've struggled a lot with insects, pests type thing. So I'm going to rip those all out and replace them with something else as well. Before I go to the other side, let me take you over here. This is dill, the Mammoth Bouquet dill, and it is starting to do better. I think it just likes the heat way better. I finally have some long stems coming up, which is cool. So I'm just gonna let that chill, but then you have this little guy. This sprout is the exact same as it was. So anyway, I'm gonna let that play out. The stalk over here is meh. I think I might leave the stalk in and go ahead and plant some other type of seed in between, and then it will give the stalk some shade and perhaps be able to limp the stalk through the summer, and then maybe it will give me some fresh blooms in the fall. So that's always a good way if you're not sure about something and it was supposed to be more of a spring bloom like stock. You can go ahead and plant something else around it, in and among it, and hopefully shade it through all these hot summers, and then maybe able to reap some benefits of it in the fall. And then the last one in my raised bed garden, which I'm probably most disappointed in because I was super excited, is the Marigold Starfire mix right here. Now, it has struggled a lot with insects, pests, so I've had to spray it a lot, which y'all know I don't like to do that. This one in particular is doing really well, but most of them are super tiny. They haven't put on a lot of growth. I am going to allow this to also limp its way through. Marigolds prefer heat, so perhaps that'll be good. I have been, as the blooms have been dying off like this, I've been pinching them and allowing the seeds to fall down. So hopefully maybe they'll start reseeding themselves, which would be great. And maybe I can get some more blooms coming. I was just expecting more height. Here's all the seeds. Aren't they pretty? I was just expecting more height and such. So anyway, not super happy with it. I guess it's not a complete failure yet. I'll give it through July, see how it's doing. If it's not doing good, well, then I'll pull it out and I'll put some quick growing zinnias in there just to fill in my beds. Okay, so complaining makes me feel guilty because I know I'm very lucky to be able to even have these raised beds and to be able to be out here working in the garden and enjoying this as, you know, a part-time job. Like, I mean, this is really nice, right? But there is levels of disappointment. At this point in time, I thought my beds would just be overflowing with blooms, and they're really not. So maybe it's that I need to start earlier in the spring, which is definitely a possibility, absolutely a possibility. Maybe I chose the wrong type of soil. Maybe the soil doesn't have enough nutrients. I'm not sure. That's something I'll have to continue looking at. I'm definitely in the winter when all this dives back, I'm definitely going to top it with compost and probably mix in blood meal, worm castings, just several different things to kind of add nutrients to it as well. But yeah, you know, there is a level of disappointment when you come out and after all that work, there's nothing coming up, you know, it's kind of disappointing. So, but anyway, that's where I'm at right now. But let me show you, I am going to be adding some more seeds today. So let me show you what I'm going to be planting. Okay, I came inside for a few minutes. You guys can see my calendar that I'm always working on for my garden. And then I've got some different things to be planting. I'm going to be doing some cosmos. I'm going to be mixing two varieties, Zenzia and Cupcakes White. Both these just came from Johnny's. And I think I'm going to start maybe 4 plants of each of these in the raised beds. Next, I'm going to be sowing cress as a kind of filler flower greenery. This is from Floret. Germination rate is 80%. Let's see, 36 to 40 inches high, full sun, 50 to 60 days to maturity, which is pretty dang good. Spacing 12 inches apart. I think this is what I'm going to work in between the stalk. And so I think that'll be really fun. This turns a lot of different colors. It's great for drying out, but it's not so thick that it's going to like take over the stalks. So this one says direct seed as soon as ground can be worked, staggering plantings every 2 weeks for an extended harvest. So I'll go ahead and start some now and then maybe start some in July as well. I'm also going to start amaranth, and I'm going to start this particular variety, which is called Mira, excuse me. And it is very long and dramatic, bicolored, green and rose tinted, and they look like ropes. 65 to 75 days maturity. Height is 40 to 45 inches. I'll probably start 4 to 6 of these plants. These are really good that you can pinch them back at about like the 10 to 12 inch mark. Yeah, there it is. Pinch back when 12 inches tall, and it will branch into multiple branches, which is why I'm not going to start tons and tons of these. Like 4 to 6 of these plants is plenty for what I need. I'm also going to work in a couple of varieties of zinnia. This one right here is Queen Lime Orange. Always happy with the Queen Lime series, so I'm excited to get those into the ground. And this one right here is Queen Lime Red. And I've grown this one in the past. I absolutely love the variation of colors within it. And then finally, I'm gonna start some Mexican sunflower or torch flower, Tithonia, which goes really great in my area and which loves the heat. This grows really big, 4 to 6 feet tall. I'm only going to put maybe 4 to 6 of these plants in. I don't want them to just overwhelm everything. But anyway, we'll see how it does. I don't see a maturity point. Seedlings emerge in 7 to 14 days. But yeah, we'll get those started outside as well. All the areas that I'm going to be planting today, I am going to be charging with Plant Tone by Espoma. I'm going to be charging with Plant Tone before I plant these. I just use my cultivator claw to loosen up the soil where I had put the Plant Tone in. Works really well. Okay, right here where the Clarkia used to be, I have Queen Lime Orange, I think. Queen Lime Orange. Over here where the Clary Sage used to be, I have the Cosmos Cupcakes White and the Cosmos Zenzia. Over here, where in between the stalk, I have the Crest Green Dragon. And over here, this actually was Feverfew over here. I actually ripped off the leaves and left the roots in there. We'll see what happens. And then I seeded this with Queen Lime, or Zinnia's Queen Lime Red. And then over here amongst my pro-cut sunflowers, which will be harvested before these other ones come to bloom. Over here, I did the Amaranth Mira. And then over here, I did the Tithonia Mexican Sunflower Torch Flower. It's hot, always. Super humid. Okay, so I've got all these planted. I will be checking on them in the beginning of the day and the end of the day, watering them frequently to keep the seeds moist so that they can germinate as well. And then obviously seedlings, you want to make sure that you are keeping them moist as they are beginning to grow until they get their roots established down lower. All of these should do really great. All of these tend to be more drought tolerant and don't need as much water, so that's great as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video today on my successes and failures within the raised bed garden. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.